So what do you get when you spend twice the amount on a brand new facelifted Giulia compared to a pre-facelifted used Giulia? Today, we're gonna find out if Alfa Romeo listened to their complaints about the pre-facelifted Giulia, about the quality and all of that, and if this 2024 Alfa Romeo Giulia is truly something you should consider over a BMW 3 Series or a Mercedes C-Class. Today, we're gonna find out. This 2024 Alfa Romeo Giulia is sticker priced at $54,000. I got my Alfa Romeo Giulia used with 54,000 miles for $25,000. So Alfa Romeo has proved that if you have a winning formula, you really don't have to change it. Really, the big differences between the pre-facelift and the facelift start on the outside. As you guys can tell, those LED running lights look so much better, in my opinion, compared to the pre-facelifted Giulia. This just gives it a menacing look, an updated look. Also, if you guys see the taillights, these are from the GTA race car that Alfa Romeo made and that you can actually drive on the road. They made two. They made the GTA and the GTA M. The GTA had the back seats and it didn't have the huge spoiler. The GTA M did. And so this gets a little bit of that inspiration from the racing heritage of Alfa Romeo. So when you guys turn on the Giulia, you will notice this has a digital dash, which my Giulia does not. It has an analog dash, which some people like, some people don't. This definitely has a more updated feel to it. This infotainment system is a lot more modern than how mine does in the 2018 Giulia. Also, if you guys will see some of the buttons and the quality of this, for instance, this parking button right here feels a lot better than the parking button on my car, or for instance, the shifter. Now, Alfa Romeo did change this in, I think, 2020, mid 2020, and it was fully brought on in 2021. So you can get used Giulias with the updated center console look. However, you have to buy a new Giulia to get the digital dash. So if you like that, you have to buy a new Giulia. Now, a little secret for those who have the pre-facelift Giulia is that you can actually get the LED headlights and the LED taillights of the facelifted model. You can always install on the pre-facelift if you guys want it. Now, my suggestion to you guys is, if you're going to find a Giulia, you have to find one 2020 and above. The one with the updated center console, just because it looks and feels a lot better and a lot more high quality built than the first pre-facelift Giulias. Just, it's something you'll feel. The armrest is squeaky on my Giulia, and it's one of the most annoying things about it. It is one of those things, if you're taking a nice chill stroll and you're not driving super aggressively, it's gonna piss you off because your luxury car is squeaking every time you put your hand on the armrest. And so, yeah, now we're gonna go drive it and see if there really is a difference now with how the car drives. Now, this is not the TI Sport, so it does not have a limited slip differential. Mine does not either, so this is gonna be a pretty fair comparison. So setting off in the 2024 facelift Alfa Romeo Giulia. First off, already what I'm noticing, the touch points in this Giulia feel a lot more premium than the Giulia that I have. And it just goes down to the leather. The center armrest is one thing for sure, as you guys have already noticed. I said, it's just night and day different. The parking brake button here just feels a lot higher quality. The shift knob, it's just, everything feels a lot more premium. Alfa listened to the consumer complaints about the pre-facelift Giulia. Aside from like the plastic around the window switches and the plastic around the climate control vents, Alfa feels just as high quality as any BMW, Audi, or Mercedes, especially Mercedes, because Mercedes has took a huge nosedive in the quality of their vehicles as of recently. I will say the gauges are cool and they switch depending on what mode you're in. I definitely feel as though the R1 concept brakes that I have on my Alfa Romeo Giulia are a lot better than the stock brakes. It just gives a lot more confidence in the braking. That's just one thing I'm noticing driving back and forth. Infotainment seems easy enough to use. Completely different layout compared to what I have in my Giulia, but the same ease of use. Just driving it in the normal mode, it feels completely fine, completely passable as any other luxury car, like a BMW, Mercedes, Audi, Lexus. You might hear a little bit of that engine penetrating into the cabin, which for some people might not be what they're looking for, but if you're buying an Alfa Romeo, you're buying something that's sporty anyways, get over it. Now, setting off in some corners with the Giulia. How the body reacts is very much the same. I will say that the front dampers or the springs in the front seem to be a little softer than my Giulia. It's just something that I can tell changing directions and on bumps specifically. I feel like they went with a softer shock or a softer spring, but pretty much how the car rides over bumps feels pretty much the exact same. If you have something that works, why change it? So then, why should you buy a brand new Alfa Romeo Giulia? Isn't it going to depreciate like a rock, like the whole internet says? Well, this really comes down to your buying philosophy. Because regardless of what new vehicle you buy, a new vehicle, unless it's super low production, it's going to depreciate regardless. If what you care about and if what you preference is low miles, no miles, fit and finish, you want to pretty much break in the car yourself, buy a new Alfa Romeo Giulia. What is the difference between buying a brand new Alfa Romeo Giulia versus buying a brand new BMW 330i or a brand new Mercedes C300? There is no difference. Both cars are going to depreciate the exact same. Both cars have pretty much the same reliability. If you're going into a BMW, you're most likely going to deal with something later down the line. Just like how all BMWs are. When you deal with plastic parts that go through heat cycles, there are going to be things you have to replace at a high mileage. That's with any car. So the notion that Alfa Romeos are unreasonably unreliable is just completely false. You get a warranty anyways. If you buy one pre-owned, you can get an extended factory warranty and it's not going to be a problem. So what is all the bitching and complaining about? Oh, Alfa Romeos are unreliable. Yes, I understand they have a history of unreliability in the 60s, 70s, 80s, all of that. But we're in a new day and new age. This vehicle, 10 times better, in my opinion, than a BMW 330i. Just how the suspension is set up. It's double wishbones in the front. It handles and takes turns a lot better than a comparable BMW. So, again, the point is, why not buy a brand new Alfa Romeo Giulia? Alfa Romeos, along with any other luxury vehicle, is going to depreciate. If you care about new vehicles, buy a new Alfa Romeo Giulia. If you don't have the budget for that, if you want to save on the depreciation, then go buy a pre-owned Alfa Romeo Giulia. What is holding people back from taking these decisions in life? All of the internet hype, all of the rumors that you hear, it shouldn't determine your decision. You should still decide based on the information that is out there. And there's plenty of information on the internet that proves that the 2-liter Alfa Romeo Giulia specifically are reliable just as any other BMW, Mercedes in its class. The only thing that might be of an issue is the dealer network. Now, I live in Northern Virginia. I'm in Tysons right now. The Alfa Romeo store here in Tysons, Safford Alfa Romeo, is amazing. I really enjoy them. Jose in the service department, who is the service manager, is amazing. He has saved me a lot of money over the ownership of my vehicle. And Daniel, specifically, as a salesperson, is an amazing salesperson. He will go out of his way to help you. So, specifically, The dealer network here where I'm located is amazing. Now, can I guarantee that all throughout the country, that's how the dealer network is gonna be? No. It's just down to personal preference. You want a daily driver that's going to be a lot more sporty than anything on the road. That's going to be a lot more rarer than anything on the road. You see a Mercedes like it's a Honda. You see a BMW like it's a Honda. If you want to stand out, if you want to be different, you buy an Alfa Romeo. And you don't listen to the critics, and you don't listen to those who say, oh, it's just Chrysler, it's just a Stellantis product, it's just a Chrysler 300. You don't listen to all that crap. You take risks. That's what the Alfa life is about. And the thing is, this brand, Alfa Romeo, has a lot more history than BMW. It doesn't have more history than Mercedes, I will say that, but it's a lot more exotic of a brand than any of those two that I just mentioned. Ferrari came from Alfa Romeo. Ferrari raced for Alfa Romeo. Why these aren't selling as they should? It's just people following hype at the end of the day. BMW is the hype. Mercedes with their tech is the hype. Tesla with their shitty quality Model 3. That's the hype. So yeah, guys, if you're fortunate enough to find a quality Alfa Romeo dealership like the Safford Alfa Romeo dealership here in the Tysons region, which is just amazing quality. Daniel specific is amazing. You should go to no one else but Daniel. If you're able to find a dealer like this in the vast dealer network that Alfa Romeo has, I'm saying that sarcastically, then absolutely go for it. New, used, it doesn't matter. Stop being a pussy. If you are into buying new cars and you want a vehicle with no miles and you want to be able to break it in, buy a new Alfa Romeo Giulia. Do not let the depreciation scare you away from doing it. And if you want to buy a used Alfa Romeo Giulia and you're scared that it's going to break down, there are factory warranties available on the used market for used Alfa Romeo Giulia. So do not let the internet hype scare you away from buying one of these amazing vehicles that have such a rich history in racing and in just the whole entire automotive space. Come if you're in the Northern Virginia region, specifically to Tysons. Daniel will take care of you guys. But yeah, guys, this is Daniel right here.
Thank you, Justin. All right, so overall, our main goal at Tysons is to make sure you experience the vehicle, the good, the bad, the ugly. We want you to know it all, because our main goal is to make sure you fall in love with it. If you can't fall in love with the Alfa, I don't know what to tell you. It's hard not to love this vehicle. A little bit heritage of Alfa Romeo. What appealed to me about Alfa Romeo is their racing history and how effective they were with building a race car that weighs the way the Giulia does and performs the way the Giulia does. A lot of people don't know the inspiration for the motor and the steering in this car comes from a Ferrari. If you ever get a chance to drive a Quattrofolio, you have to. I mean, it's the best drive I've had in my life. I'm 35 now, and I have a long way to go, but as soon as I can, I'm getting a Quattrofolio Super Sport coming soon. If you don't know much about the Super Sport, don't worry, I'm gonna save that information for Justin to hit you later. Make sure you stick around for that video. Like, follow, subscribe. A lot of people don't understand that these cars do a lot of R&D. The people who have major issues in the past with the early editions usually drove them like they were track cars and didn't want to service them that way. But overall, electronics, I mean, it was a little bumpy in the beginning because that comes from racing heritage trying to incorporate technology. It's a slow pickup, but as you can see from the current models, 2020, I would say 22s and up, they give you all the tech you need and still maintain their ability to make you feel like you're in a cockpit of a race car.
Where can people follow you at?
Well, you can always follow me on Facebook, Daniel Perrier. You can reach me at the dealership anytime, same name, but you just gotta call and ask for me. And on Instagram, I'm the good fella, Danny P. My whole goal in life is to make sure everybody else gets good vibes and good energy. So, of course, I fit well in an Italian market.
Now, guys, he will make sure that you are not over leveraging yourselves financially purchasing one of these vehicles. A lot of people think that these vehicles are way more out of hand than they actually are.
Oh yeah. The first assessment people get from any Italian brand is it's going to be expensive. It's going to be hard to maintain. It's out of my budget, and that's not true. Alfa is actually, I want to say, the Toyota of Italian cars. They give you more reliability than Fiat, which are tiny cars. Mind you, they were at one point part of the sister group of Ferrari and Fiat. Now Stellantis has gave them their own pedestal to work with Chrysler, and you'll definitely see an improvement in what people have to say online about these cars. A lot of the blogs all speak to the negative just to be speaking online, when realistically, most of the people are driving 2015 to 16 Giulias when they were first released and haven't got to experience the redefined operation and performance of these vehicles. I appreciate Justin from coming out, guys. You got to appreciate him because he's sticking with it. He doesn't have a 2024, but he appreciates his 18 like it's a 24 because he understands where you need to be. I'm the salesperson that's going to make sure you not only understand, but have a plan on how you can make sure this car brings the most benefit, whether it's just lasting long, holding its equity. I'm the person who would walk you through that, and every salesperson should. So if you have a salesperson at any other dealership that makes you feel like they're not taking care of you, give us a call at Stafford Auto Tyson. We'll make sure you take care of.
Thank you so much, Daniel. Guys, don't go to anyone else but Daniel.